Yep, I got my Next.js shirt on. This proves I used to work at Vercel. How do you handle dynamic objects? Okay, you mean like when you want to access like an object via a string or something like that? Cool, yeah, we can do that. Yeah, I wrote an article about this like super recently actually, so this is right on top of my mind. So there's an error that you get like super often with this. So let's say you've got your object here. You're going to get this like no index signature with a parameter of type string was found on type A number or B number. Why is that happening? Well, my object is like a type with A number and B number on it, and you're trying to access it with a string. And so it looks like this should work, right? But what if you try to access it with a C or something like that? This is just something that TypeScript kind of yells at you and says you can't do that. And the reason that you can't do that is because this thing doesn't have an index signature on it. And an index signature is something that basically says, okay, if you try to access this with a string, then you might get something back or you might not. So your first solution is basically to tighten this index here, the thing that you're trying to index into it. And you can use key of type of here. And key of type of, this will basically end up this being A or B here. You might have seen key of type of before in like one of my as const videos from like a previous live stream. And yeah, this now works, right? Because now my object, you're either accessing it with A or B here. And so it's either going to return number or number. Yeah, you're right. So this would basically mean that you have to call access now with A or B. So this is okay. Sometimes you want to make sure that you're calling the thing with the exact keys, but sometimes it ain't going to work. The second solution is to loosen the object type. Yeah, it's to basically turn this into a record. And now my object is basically a record with string and numbers, and records have an index signature in them. So this means now we can actually add new keys to the object, which is useful, and we can also access it with string. But you notice that access here actually always returns a number, and that's because I think I don't have no unchecked index access turned on here. Because technically you could like index into my object with D or something, and that's going to return undefined. I pretty much have no unchecked index access like turned on in like every project I do, so make sure you have it as well, and then this will mean this returns undefined or number, which is more correct. So then the final solution is you cast the index, basically, is you say, okay, we're taking in a string here, and then you can actually cast that index inside this position here, and now string, even though it is string, it will be cast to A or B. This is obviously like the least safe way of doing it, you know, because you're using as here, you're actually lying to TypeScript. You're not actually this is not type safe at all. Yeah, if you look down here, we've got access C, and C results is going to be a number, even though it should be undefined, and it should actually just be pretty dangerous. So we could actually annotate this function as being like number or undefined, I guess. But yeah, this one is like, you know, this is the sharpest knife of the bunch, right? You're going to cut yourself if you use this too often. But yeah, sometimes it's useful, you know, sometimes it's useful. Let's say you're doing like a for-in loop or something, you know, you're going to have situations where you'll need this, and this will work. So yeah, either cast the index or loosen the object type or tighten the index.